What's up, everybody? It is the 28th of August, and I have taken another break from vlogging just because at this point of the expansion, there's a bit of a lull in things to do. That being said, I set a goal for myself to hit 3K RaiderIO score for Season 4 of BFA. So for anyone who's not a WoW player, essentially when you do content, specifically Mythic Plus content, there's a website called RaiderIO, which assigns a value to the time of the dungeon that you've done. So like if you do a plus 16 difficulty dungeon in time, you would get like 230 points. If you do a plus 17, it's like 250 points. So the idea is that there's this aggregate score that captures the hardest content you've done. And the idea is that you can get an idea of how good someone is based on how high their score is. So it's essentially a way to set goals for yourself, but also make sure that you're being measured in a way that people can recognize what you've done. And for people like me, it's something you can aim for. You can aim for certain milestones. So 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 are all pretty big milestones. So the past 3 weeks, I've been pushing to try and get my score from 2,000 to 3,000. Because 3,000 is sort of, basically you average a key level at plus 20. When you hit 3,000, that means you've done about a plus 20 on almost everything. At least about 3/4 of the dungeons. And doing any key beyond a 20 with a pickup group is really difficult, if not impossible. You start needing voice communications and things like that. So it's very, very, very challenging to get a group together of people who are just randoms who have never played together, who are also not using voice, to try and get these dungeons done. So it's almost a milestone of sorts that I set for myself, since right now, being this close to the end of the expansion, the likelihood of finding a group to regularly run with is very low. And also, today is kind of a funny milestone in another way, is that they announced the expansion today it's coming out exactly 2 months from today. So October 27th, but October 26th in the US, just to line up time zones, which means I only have about 3 or 4 weeks left to get the highest score I could get anyway. So it's kind of making sense to switch gears and focus on the public test realm and trying to get a sense for the specs and the different classes I could potentially play in Shadowlands, and start trying to mentally prepare myself, and just from an experience perspective, prepare myself. The other thing kind of in the way between now and the end of the expansion is I've been lucky enough to find a group of people who were looking for an extra person to do the upcoming Keystone Masters FX tournament. So essentially, or EX tournament, I can't remember which, but essentially it's an experimental tournament where they're using the Keystone Masters format, but they're making it so that you can't play the same spec more than once per series. So if I play a Frost Death Knight in the first game of a 3-game series, I could play an Unholy Death Knight in Series 2, but I can't play a Frost Death Knight again until the next 3-round series, whether we win or lose. So you can only play each spec once per 3-game set. So it's going to be really interesting, because a lot of people have gotten very used to playing just one class, and some people are trying to pick up new classes. One of my strengths is that I am a multi-classer, so I can play 6 or 7 different classes at a level above a plus 15, which means that if I had enough gear on a lot of those characters, I could be doing plus 20s on them as well. So I'm very lucky that my indecision has paid off in a way, because I can basically play almost any class I need to, or at least 6 or 7 different specs in a way that will make it very helpful to the team. So it's me and 5 other people. They're looking at setting up the tournament realm, it looks like tomorrow. So I'm gonna be able to get on there and set up my characters and start experimenting and making sure I understand how each of my classes feel. And I don't think I know exactly yet which class they're gonna put me on. They may do Fire Mage, Prot Warrior, and Brewmaster, or Prot Warrior and Blood Death Knight. It's hard to say. But given that I am rather inexperienced with other DPS classes, it's more than likely going to be me playing a Fire Mage, then mixing in tanking and healing specs based on what the group needs. So they're an all new group of people to me, so it'll be fun to meet new people and see how it goes. Hopefully there's not really any drama, but I'm just going to show up and kind of give it my all, keep my mouth shut unless I need to, and then do what I need to do to potentially try and make a name for ourselves. I don't know that we'll win, but it does seem a lot of the pros aren't competing. That being said, there are a lot of people out there who have 4,000, 5,000 RaiderIO who aren't actually pro, who are much more experienced doing higher level keys than I am. So don't want to talk down about myself, but there will be a lot of work to do and a lot of practice. So I'm gonna be very busy for the next couple of weeks, and most likely I'll be vlogging a lot more. So getting on 5.5 minutes here. I'm gonna call it a night, I think, but reaching 3K IO is a big milestone for me, and it's just very affirming to realize that when I put my mind to something, especially in Warcraft, in RaiderIO, or just Mythic Plus in general, I'm still able at, the ripe old age of 31, I'm still able to compete if I want to. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see everyone next time.